Welcome students to my seventh lecture of Control System 2. So today we are going to discuss how a nonlinear system can be represented using state space, because at the beginning we have claimed that any system, it may be linear, nonlinear, it may be MIMO, it may be SISO, it may be time varying, or it may be time invariant. We can represent this kind of system using state space representation, because it is a more generalized way any system can be represented. So now last class we have discussed actually three example to understand the state space modeling, and the first example we have discussed a electromechanical system, that is separately excited DC motor, and we have seen that a MIMO system, how it can be represented using state space representation. Then we have taken a two tank system. There also we have seen that how this kind of MIMO system can be represented using state space equation. Here I want to mention that last class I did a small mistake, that is that when I have discussed about the mass flow represented by the quantity rho into QI1. Basically the rho is in SI unit, it is kg per meter cube, and then QI1 is the volumetric flow, so it will be meter cube per second. So the rho into QI1 basically representing the mass flow, that is kg per second. In the earlier discussion last class, I think mistakenly I have written meter instead of second. So the mass flow is represented by kg per second. And the third example we have taken, that is the RLC circuit, and we have seen that any state space representation can be represented with the block diagram representation. So we have taken the example of this RLC circuit, and we have understood that how the different model can be derived for the RLC circuit, and how the block diagram representation can be drawn for this example. And we have seen that several models, I think four models we have represented for this system. And here you mind that in place of integrator sometimes we will write 1 by s also, because the frequency domain representation of the integrator is 1 by s. And one important thing we have arrived that for a single system there may be exist several models, because the choice of state variables are not unique. But which things are unique for a system? That may be the characteristics equation. Means maybe we got four model, but if we derive the characteristics equation for the system, we will find that for all the models characteristics equations are same, because we have started with a unique input output relationship, which is represented by a differential equation. Here another thing I want to mention, that last lecture I think while writing the characteristics equation I did some minor mistake. The characteristics equation, if you write for this system, it will be s square plus 1 by RC into S. This S term actually I have missed, plus 1 by LC is equal to 0. If you derive the characteristics equation from the given state space representation, you will find that in between these all four models the characteristics equation will be same. So now that thing definitely we will discuss when the occasion will come. And today we are going to discuss about the state space representation of nonlinear system. So definitely the nonlinear systems are described by nonlinear differential equations, and nonlinear systems are not obeying the superposition principle, because as we have understood that if a system is linear, then definitely the system is going to obey the superposition principle. And also we came to know that for a given system, how we will verify whether the system is obeying superposition principle or not. So to understand the modeling of a nonlinear system, the first example we have taken the pendulum, simple pendulum we have taken. So here a simple pendulum is represented in figure 15 where the L denotes, so this is the L, so here this L denotes the length of the rod, M denotes the mass of the bob, and theta is the angular displacement. So from the analysis we know that this angle also will be theta, and now this mg, that force, can be divided in two components. One will be mg cos theta and another will be mg sin theta. And now if we interested to write the force balance equation, then the equation of motion for this simple pendulum will be represented by a nonlinear differential equation, that is ml theta double dot minus mg sin theta minus kl theta dot. Here k is representing the frictional coefficient. Now you closely observe this differential equation, which is second order. So now if we want to represent this nonlinear differential equation in the form of state space, then definitely we have to convert this second order nonlinear differential equation to two number of first order differential equation. So now we will choose the state variable as, suppose x1 is equal to theta, that is the angular position, and another state variable we are choosing, that is x2, that is the angular velocity, that is d theta by dt, and we are assuming that the output of the system is the angular position, that is x1. So now if we will assume that one, so then if we want to write the state equation, then we will write x1 dot, because as a hint, as I told you, that once you will assume the state variables, then you have to write the first derivative of the state variable. So if we want to write dx1 by dt, so dx1 by dt is theta dot, and theta dot is equal to x2. And now we have to write x2 dot. So x2 dot means theta double dot. So this is basically we are writing the expression for that theta double dot. So theta double dot means x2 dot will be equal to minus g by l sine x1 minus k by m x2. Now if you look these two equations very closely, then you will find that no longer we will able to write, that is x dot is equal to ax form, because here a term is present sin x1, so that's why we cannot separate it out, that A matrix cannot be separated from the state x. That's why here we will represent in a different way for the nonlinear system, that is x1 dot x2 dot is equal to a function we have taken, means this thing you can say that x dot is equal to some function of x, and this function actually having two components, means you can think like this, it having two component, f1 of x and f2 of x, where definitely the x is belongs to R2, means it having in state space it having two components. So where f1x is x2, so this is the function f1x, and the second function is f2x. So here we will we are observing that we cannot write a matrix separately, but instead of that we have to write in the form of x dot equal to fx. And another thing you try to understand that here for this system no external input is present, so this system we can say that it is an example of unforced system, because there is no external input to the system. Now suppose in a situation you are applying a torque, external torque T, and in that situation if we want to write what will be the differential equation, now the same equation will be modified slightly. If we apply a torque, that will be that is ml theta dot is equal to minus mg sine theta minus kl theta dot plus T by L, where T is the external torque applied to the pendulum, and now T will act as an input to the system. The same way we will try to write the two differential equation assuming the theta and theta dot are the two state variables. So now x1 dot is equal to x2 and x2 dot is equal to minus g by L sine x1 minus k by m x2 plus 1 by ml square t. So now if you closely look to these two differential equation, which can be represented in the form of the following equation, where you are finding that no longer we are separating the A matrix, but the B matrix we have written, because B matrix we are finding that it is 0 and another component is 1 by ml square. So here you are finding that we have represented the system x dot is equal to some function fx plus b into u, and output equation is equal to c into x. Fine. So now you see that the system is represented in a compact form, x dot equal to fx plus b into u, output y equal to cx, and the initial condition definitely will be present, which is required to be known to solve the differential equation. So now you see here basically x is having means sorry is x having two components, that is x1 and x2. That's why we will write x belongs to R2. So this is the feeling about the nonlinear system, where we are finding that at least for the simple pendulum we have observed that due to the presence of this nonlinear term, that is sine x1, no longer we are able to write the system in the form of x dot equal to ax plus bu, but instead of that we are writing that some functional form we have to write, that is x dot equal to fx plus b into u. Fortunately you got that for this special system b is you got a constant matrix, but it can happen that b can be if function of means instead of b matrix you will get a g which will be the function of x, which we will see immediately in the next example, I think. So as a next example we have taken the HIV dynamics. So which is very interesting. So which is example of biological system. As I told you that any kind of system can be represented using state space. So we have taken the example of HIV or AIDS dynamics. So HIV inflicts its damage by infecting healthy CD4 T cells, a type of white blood cells that are necessary to fight infection. So we want to know that in brief, if the HIV virus is going to attack our body, then what are the phenomena is going to happen, that we want to visualize, and from there we will write the dynamical equation which is describing the HIV or AIDS dynamics. So as a virus embeds in a T cells and the immune system produces more of these cells to fight the infections. So whenever the HIV virus, HIV means is going to attack the human body, then what will happen? It is going to embed in the T cells, and our natural immune system is trying to produce more T cells to combat or to fight against the virus. But the virus propagates in a opportunistic fashion, as we now develop a simple HIV model which is referred to a figure. So now you see the figure. So now you assume that this green color is green color circles are representing the uninfected CD4 T cells. So now these are the healthy, we can say that healthy CD4 T cells. And what are the parameters? The first thing you see that normally T cells are produced at a rate S and die at a rate delta. So it is produced at a rate S and it is going to die at a rate delta. So this dying is a natural process. So naturally some CD4 T cells are going to die. Now second important thing is the virus. This virus in the bloodstream called the free virus infect the healthy T cells at a rate beta. So now you see this small red color circles are representing free virus which is going to infect the healthy T cells at the rate of beta. So this representing the infected CD4 T cells. Fine. Now what will happen, that also the virus reproduce through the T cells multiplication process or otherwise at a rate alpha. So now whenever the virus is going to infect the CD4 T cells, then more virus is going to produce, and that is going to be produced at the rate of alpha. Now naturally some virus is going to die with the rate gamma 1, and also due to the infection the CD4 T cells are going to die at a rate gamma 2. So here important three states are present, that is one is the healthy CD4 T cells, another is the free virus, and another is the infected CD4 T cells. So now with these three states of the system, the mechanism of this HIV dynamics can be represented by three nonlinear differential equation, which is represented by equation number 73. And here try to understand that x1 denoting the number of healthy CD4 T cells, x2 denoting the infected CD4 T cells, and X3 denoting the free virus, and U is the input which is representing the efficiency of the drug applied to our body. So now the equation 73 definitely a representation of a nonlinear system, because if you see each of the differential equation, the multiplicative terms are there. They are the function of states, that is x1 x3 x1 x3, these are the terms are present. Now if we want to represent this system using state space, then how we can represent? The representation will be like this, that x1 dot, x2 dot, and x3 dot is equal to some function which is function of x1 x2 and x3 plus, here interestingly that no longer this B matrix is constant, you can find that it is also the function of x1 x2 and x3 into U. So in compact form we can write the representation is xt is equal to fx plus gx into u, where x definitely is having three component, that is belongs to R3. So now here from here it is very much clear that any nonlinear system can be represented, that is x dot is equal to some function, nonlinear function fx plus gx into u, and fx having three components. Okay, so you can say that the first component, this one is the f1, this one is the f2, and this one is the f3. So fx having three components, f1 f2 and f3, and also g having three components, that is g1, you can assume this is g2 and this is g3. Fine. So now in this way you are finding that in a nonlinear system, the example which we have taken, that is the HIV dynamics, can be represented in the form of x dot t is equal to fx plus gx into u. Here we have not mentioned any output of the dynamics. So now after understanding these two examples, now we are ready to represent a nonlinear system in a more generalized form. Okay, so where any nonlinear system can be accommodated. So generalized form now we are trying to introduce, where we will consider a nonlinear system as consisting of inputs, m number of inputs are there, and outputs, you are observing that p number of outputs are there, and the state variables are denoted by x1 x2 and xn, means n number of state variables are there. Then for a nonlinear system, in a more generalized way, you can say that the differential equations we associated with the state variables will be x1 dot is equal to some function f1, that will be the function of n state variable, m input, and that could be the function of time also. So it is a more generalized way we are representing. So like that, the x2 dot also will be some another function of n state variables, m inputs, and the time t. So like that, n number of state equations will be there. And also the p number of outputs will be related with the input states and time with n number of functions, that is g1, g2, and gp. So these are the output equations. So now if we assume that a function f, which is a function which can be the function of state, which can be the function of input, and which can be the function of time, and which having n number of components, that is f1, f2, fn, and also the g having means the g having p number of component, that is g1, g2, gp, and g is a function of also x, u, and t. Now any nonlinear system which is time varying can be represented in a generalized form, that is x dot t equal to function of x u t and y t equal to g which is a function of x u t and some initial condition, that is n number of initial condition. And here you try to understand that x having n number of component, u having m number of component, and y having p number of component. So this is the 74a and 74b is the most generalized way to represent any nonlinear time varying system. Now some special cases we will discuss which comes under the category of different systems. So first, if we are representing a unforced system means if the system having no input, then the state equations will be only the function of state and time, and yt also will be the function of state and time, and this kind of system we will call unforced system, which is not influenced by any external input. And another kind of system we will discuss frequently in this course, that is autonomous system or time invariant nonlinear system, where we will find that the state equations are only the function of state, not the function of input or the time. Okay, so output is also function of gx. So already we have discussed the pendulum example, where you will find that is the example what we have taken, the example of a autonomous system, this example where you see we have represented the system in the form of x dot is equal to fx. Here you see that x dot is equal to f of x, which is only the function of states, neither it is depending on time explicitly or the input. So that's why this system, the first set of differential equation for the pendulum is the example of autonomous system. And another category of the category here I have mentioned, that is also frequently encountered in the control literature, that is control affine system or affine in control system, where you are finding that xt is equal to fx plus gx into u. Okay, where g having m number of component, because we are dealing with m number of inputs. What is the speciality of this form? Now they are linear in control action, because it is g1 into u, g2 into g1 into u1, g2 into u2, but nonlinear with respect to state. So this g1, g2, gm are the function of nonlinear function of states. So now exactly in this category we have discussed the system, that is the HIV dynamics. If you see here, that is x dot t is equal to fx plus gx into u. So this kind of system is known as affine in control system. So now some other category also exist, that is that if the state equation 74a and the output equation 74b means most generalized representation, that is x dot equal to f a function of x ut and yt equal to g function of x ut. If you linearize this system about its equilibrium point, that is x0 y0, then this system can be represented in the form of x dot t is equal to a of t, which is a function of time xt, plus b, which is a function of time ut, yt is equal to c, which is a function of t xt, plus d, which is a function of t ut. Fine. Now at this point we don't know how to linearize this set of differential equation to get the linear equations. That definitely we will discuss in this course, but if we linearize the 74a and 74b about its equilibrium point or operating point x0 u0, we could have arrived the set of linear equation. But here the speciality is that the a b c d, all these matrices are function of time, so it is the generalized representation of linear time varying system. As an example, it has been given example of unforced system. It is given where you can observe the a matrix you are finding that it is a function of time, and the control affine system that is 77a and 77b, if you linearized with respect to operating point, then you could have arrived a set of differential equation which is represented in x dot equal to a into xt plus b into ut, and yt equal to c into xt plus d into ut. And most important thing here, that a b c and d matrices are constant, means the entries, all the elements of ABC matrices are constant, and this system is the generalized representation of linear time invariant system. So today we have seen that how a nonlinear system can be represented using state space. For that we have taken two motivating example. One is the pendulum, simple pendulum. Second is the HIV dynamics. From there we have seen that the nonlinear systems which is time varying can be represented in the form of x dot t is equal to function of x, u and t. And don't be confused, this function having n number of components like this, f1 f2 fn, and also the output having p number of components g1 g2 and gp. And we have seen several variations of the system, that is unforced nonlinear system, autonomous nonlinear system, control affine system. And also we have understood that if we are going to linearize the set of differential equation with nonlinear differential equation, then we could get the time varying system, linear time varying system, where we will see that a b c d matrices may be the function of time, and also a special category of system which is autonomous and which is control affine system. For this kind of system, if we want to linearize the system, then we will get a set of differential equation which is basically linear time invariant system, where we will observe that these a b c matrices are constant matrices. And this kind of system, already several examples we have given in the past classes or lectures. So I will stop here, and next class I will come with that how from the state space representation we can find out the characteristics equation, as well as how can we find the transfer function, that we will discuss in the next class. Thank you.